France, a large country in Western Europe, rich in culture and history, is shaped by nobility, religion, protracted wars and struggles, and revolution. A country of 67.4 million people, which for me exudes elegance and style. It is embodied in their marvelous architecture and passion for wine. My fascination brought me to the Loire Valley and Burgundy. Come, let me take you there. From our base in Paris, we are to travel 185 kilometers for 2 hours by car to the western side of the country. The Loire River is the longest river in France. At 1,006 kilometers, drains more than a fifth of the land and almost bisects the country in half, dividing it into north and south. The Loire is a fertile and strategic valley. It drew lucrative trade from merchants from as far as Greece for ages, but was in constant threat from invaders including the Vikings. This beautiful and rich valley, though, has seen the horrors of war in the Middle Ages, notably the 100 Years' War with rival England. For defense of territory and the nobility's pride and vanity, this strategic place plunged into chaos from 1337 to 1453 for a total of 116 years. This war was entirely fought in France's Loire Valley, with England invading the land and gaining victory and territory early in the war. It is believed that France at that time lost half of its population. With heroics from notable figures like Saint Joan of Arc, believing she was acting on divine guidance, she led the French army to victory in 1429, which helped turn the tide of the war, ending in May of 1453 under King Charles VII. With peace in the French mainland came prosperity. The Renaissance period brought in France's cultural, artistic, and economic rebirth in the 14th to the 17th century. The nobles transformed fortresses to beautiful castles, some rivaling those in Rome. Around 300 of these chateaus are found in the Loire Valley. One of these castles is in Blois, a hillside city of 45,871 people on the banks of the Loire River in central France. An 18th century bridge spans the river. As Blois is built on a pair of steep hills, winding and steep pathways run through the city, culminating in long staircases. The Chateau de Beaune is once home to 7 kings and 10 queens of France. Originally a medieval fortress belonging to the Counts of Blois, it became a hub of monarchic power. When Louis XII, who was born here, became King of France in 1498, he made Blois the capital of the kingdom. Each building has its own history and all have a different architectural style according to the different periods. The Gothic Blois Cathedral in the foreground is where Joan of Arc comes here for blessing before she goes to battle. Time for lunch in this restaurant. A bowl of French onion soup, steak and fries, and a bottle of Saulogny Blanche. And of course, crepes for dessert. Although the Loire Valley is in the wine map of France and also makes premium wines, we are here for its magnificent chateaus. The Chateau de Chambord in the Val de Loire is one of the most recognizable chateaus in the world because of its distinctive French Renaissance architecture. Constructed in 1519 and opened in 1547, it was commissioned by Francis I to function as a hunting lodge where the king and his entourage could pursue abundant game in the surrounding forest. This famous staircase was sketched by Italian Leonardo da Vinci but did not live to see it through. The chateau's construction was credited to Italian Domenico de Cortona. The royalties could mount their horses with this saddle and hunt game in these forests. Their trophies in display in this room. Paintings depict the hounds used for hunting and the prize catch. The kings and the nobles had the time of their lives. Then came the French Revolution that started in 1787. The period of major social upheaval. It marked the beginning of the end of France's royalty and nobles, the end of feudalism. The peasants and bourgeoisie, composed of professionals, students and merchants, fed up by the elite's excesses, conspired to overthrow the ruling elite. This led to the execution of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette in 1793. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the architects of the French Revolution, became the de facto leader of the French Republic from 1799 to 1804. The Catholic monarchy was also abolished, their church properties given away. Now back to Paris for the night. To a beautiful morning, our journey starts from Gare de Lyon in Paris for 3 hours to Dijon in Burgundy, 315 kilometers southeast of the city this time. Burgundy is a historical region in east-central France 5 hours south of another famous region that produces champagne, the Champagne Ardennes. Dijon is the capital of Burgundy, known for its wine and traditional spice, mustard. This is where we changed train for Beaune. You can also take this regional train and you will be in Beaune in 30 minutes, traveling 37 kilometers. Beaune is a walled town at the center of Burgundy's wine-making region. This town is surrounded by the Côte d'Or vineyards. Côte d'Or means the golden slopes. It includes Côte de Beaune, responsible for high-quality white wine, and Côte de Nuit, responsible for luscious reds. With a population of around 20,000, the old town contains some remarkable monuments and some beautiful Renaissance mansions and restaurants. The Hôtel Dieu, a gem of Burgundian medieval architecture, was built in the 15th century at the request of the Duke of Burgundy's Chancellor, Nicolas Roland, to come to the aid of the poor and the sick. This impressive hall for the poor, where the sick can hear Mass while lying down in bed, has been serving people since 1443 to 1971. The masterpiece of Flemish painting from the 15th century, called the Polyptych of the Last Judgment, attributed to the artist Roger van der Weyden. The kitchen, served by the religious, serves the poor and the sick. The Hospices de Beaune has some 61 hectares of vineyard acquired through donations and benefactors. It produces some of the best wines in Burgundy, mostly Grand Cru and Premier Cru. I learned that fine wines are the result of a terroir, or symbiosis of the grapes, right soil, climate, slope of the land, and the farmer. Every November of each year, the Hospices de Beaune host the world's biggest wine auction. Since 2005, this wine auction is handled by world-famous British auction house, Christie's. Proceeds goes to the Hôtel Dieu's upkeep, maintenance of the precious vineyards, and funding for their charity hospital. To complete our experience, we are visiting the wine caves and some education from a certified sommelier. Meet our cheerful sommelier, Jean-Michel. I came to know that two grape varieties dominate here. The Pinot Noir grapes, best suited for the lime-abundant soil, and the Chardonnay grapes. Of the total vineyard areas, only 1% grows Grand Cru, 10% grows Premier Cru, 37% village wines, and 52% regional wines. I learned that the wines in Burgundy are not named after the grapes used, but from the places they are grown from. That grape skin and seeds added before fermentation gives wine its dark color and body regardless of grape variety. This wine tasting area allowed us to sample these wines the proper way as instructed by a sommelier. Vintage wines dating back to the early 1900s are stored here. We've had our fill of French chateaus and fine wines. It is truly a unique experience for me and my family. This experience cemented our love and appreciation for France. It gave me a deeper sense of where the French people's style and sophistication came from. It truly is a remarkable place.